Well, Jim, a tough workout this afternoon, but again, a win and a clean sheet. How pleased are you with that?
Really pleased. I mean, when the National League decided that they weren't going to go to the 3rd of October, it was going to be extremely difficult for us to have a game even the game on the 5th of September we had to cancel. So we could only play National North teams or lower. In that we've not even played the lower teams. We got Cole on the 5th because they were in between FA Cup games. But so I rang around and thought, well, who's going to give us the toughest test? Who's the teams that have either been in the National League or full time? And if we go to their place, is it going to feel? Is this game going to feel like Torquay? Is it going to feel like Dagenham away? Is it going to feel like Hartlepool away? And it certainly was. So in that sense, really pleased with the workout, regardless of the outcome. And they made it difficult for us. The conditions in the first half with a bit of breeze and getting used to the pitch and everything, and we found it a little bit scruffy. But then I wanted to find out from the players whether they could scrap it out, whether they can play dirty football in the sense of not nasty football, in the sense of being able to play scruffy balls around corners, get some change out of situations, and a few questions answered. Not all the answers there that we want, but we stayed in the game, got the clean sheet, and obviously second half I felt with the wind going in our favour that we might be just able to get a little bit more pressure, a bit more stretch on them, tweak the shape a little bit to get a little bit more out of our front players, especially the fresher players, release John Rudy, and the only thing I'm disappointed is that we didn't get a goal before we did get a goal. But look, you know me, 1-0 clean sheet and a goal from set play, I'm always happy, whether it's Bromley, Ebbsfleet, Halifax last minute or here, and it's a sign of us being able to come to places like this, and a sign of the strengths of the shape, the players, and the depth that we have within the group.
As you say, you finished the game strongly with Niall Bell coming off the bench and John Rooney playing in the hole, but you also started the game really strongly, and there was great intensity, and I mean, Richie Bennett's so unlucky not to score twice in the opening minute.
Yeah, it was. It was such a ping pong there. I wasn't too sure who, but yeah. I mean, obviously, fans might be sort of questioning. Oh, right, Mark Kitchen played really well, and JJ scored a hat trick from wing back. So why is Jordan Williams? Because we had a really intense. We wanted to be really intense down the left. And one of the things that we feared was that they might trap our right-footed centre-back on the left of the free. So we wanted JJ and to be on that side to give us natural balance. And if they were going to stop us playing out from the back, we wanted to go down that side. It's a really strong side, Jordan Williams' strong side, Richie Bennett's strong side, and it almost paid off immediately. But like I said, after that, I think they got the measure of that, and they started. There's always a danger that they might have that extra man in midfield. So most of the coaching and demanding I was making was of the likes of Reedy and Adam Thomas to get back in and make sure that we looked really aggressive in the front three, but also had at least 3, maybe 4 in a box in midfield to support Lois and John Rooney. But yeah, really pleased. Bits that we need to tidy up, and bits that we have to recognise for ourselves rather than rely on me. And bits they took the information from half time that we wanted into the second half. So I'm really pleased with that. That if you can coach them during the week and they take it aboard. But also that when we see something, if they don't see it for themselves, that they can take it aboard and apply it the second half. And I think they did that really well.
Yeah, in terms of, it's also about keeping players fit, isn't it? At this time of year, you don't want to pick up any injuries. Adam seemed to get a knock in the first half. And needed treatment. Is he okay?
I'm really disappointed with Sean Newton, but we knew how he had that in him from the Southport game away, where just out of a mad moment, and the old classic shout you get from an old pro, it's got the ball. But the intent was there in the follow through. But Adam got up and seen it out. But maybe that just took a little bit more edge off him. We've had some little niggles. We had so one of the reasons we went with Jordan Williams at wing back was because Mark Kitchen come away from Tuesday night game against Guiseley, feeling his so he didn't train. He was in for treatment Wednesday. We're told he's probably out for Saturday. Did train Thursday, but came in Friday and tested himself, and he was all right. So it's kind of one of them where let's go with the plan, because we've been working Thursday and Friday with it. But the fear is like with the Jamie Start and Harvey, and we're getting Mac back, but we felt that it was quite a hot game for Mac. So Sam wants to play 90, so we can get Mac in now, and he can play against Chorley, and he can get as many minutes now if he wants to go from 45 to 60 to 70, because we need to get him up to speed. So at the moment, until we've got like 2 really strong wing backs, if we have a front 3 that's available on the bench, then we need to ask more of them. So it was no surprise that the front 3 were exhausted by the pressure that we were looking for them to put the opposition under, to getting back in and going forward. Maybe when we get a slightly extra players in the midfield zone, we can ask more of them, and we could, knowing that we've got subs for them. I tell the story about Dave Jones's team being a 4-4-2 team, and we only, in them days, we only had 3 subs. So there was the utility man Tony Dillon, but Dave always had 2 wingers on the bench. Everybody remember Cavaco and Durkin and JJ and you know, these players. And he'd asked his team to be 4-4-2 out possession and 4-2-4. So the demands were all on the wing backs, and therefore he had 2 to come on after 60 minutes. So if you look at all the subs, it was most likely them. So we recognising from what we're observing and the data and how players are feeling, that the demands we're placing are on our front 3. But if we've got another 3 that can come in and do that, either for 25, 30 minutes or 15 minutes to keep the intensity up there, then great, or else we can rotate. But yeah, so we have to understand, if you like, not just the system and what it works tactically, but also the demands it places on players and where we need to go, because they can't change their back 3, but Belly coming on, Connor Jennings coming on, it adds another intensity to what you're doing. And in that sense, as I always say to the players, it's not just the work rate or the tactics, sometimes it's those 3 come off the bench. You'll remember whether it be Frank Mulhern at Barnet or Frank Mulhern, Devante Rodney at Torquay away. Those players give you another level, and they keep the intensity on the back 4, and they can often win you the game. But the lads were immense in terms of keeping a clean sheet, restricting them, managing their physicality and their overload in midfield, and come out well equipped as a team that when people ask questions of us, we have the right answers.
You've obviously got to be pleased with progress in pre-season. You've now, as you mentioned earlier, Chorley away on Tuesday night, and I think that kind of fits into that pattern of games that you've just talked about with York today. They're ideal opponents, aren't they, at this stage?
Yeah, well, if we look at last year, 2 of the toughest away games we had was York here in the FA Cup and Chorley away in September, and you know, they were right up for that game. They'd had a poor run. They felt that our squad was weaker, and in some ways it was weakened the champions team with the loss of the players that we did lose. And they asked a lot of questions of us, and we found wanting. So that Chorley was always a game that I felt, you know, and if you could get, you know, Fylde might have been another option, you know, sort of full-time side that's in effect a national league team. Then these are the type of teams that we need to be playing against, because these give us a real taste, and that's purely down to the fact that there's no other teams available, you know, unless you want to play a championship or a first team, a premiership size under 23s. But these games are so much more important for us, and the challenge was for us though that we've had people like Ash Palmer, John Rooney playing 390s. So because of Harvey Gilmore's injured on the Curzon game, it seems like a long time ago. It was only 8 days ago. So John had to play that one, and what we want is a lot of our players to be playing back-to-back games. You know, whether that be Saturday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Saturday. You know, I'd like to have a few more options to rotate, but we also then have to be focusing on the fact that some players have to see the game out, and we can only use 3 subs. So we're kind of reducing the subs we use without being. But we'll have to manage obviously Macaulay and Mark Kitchen's minutes, but they'll both be wanting to play and get the minutes up at Keno, and because we need them to be at their best for the following Saturday. And then when the season comes and it's Saturday, Tuesday, and all the way to where we want to go. Looking forward to it. I've just got to ask you finally, you've made today like a first team away day. You've prepared professionally for this one. How's the new coach? Great. But we had it here for York last year, and it was a bizarre kick-off time then, because it wasn't 3 o'clock. I think it was 5 o'clock for BT Sport. So we were able to do the pre-match. It's always a bit odd for you know, like the fact of 1 o'clock kick-off. Lads should be really eating about 9, half 9. But you know, as most people in Edgeley know, you'll see me in Morrison's either on a Friday night or a Saturday morning getting the fruit and the bread and the butter and the, you know, tea and the coffee to make sure that lads that maybe just don't feel like having breakfast at 8 o'clock are on the bus. And it was great. So I had that facility, and and we've, you know, like I said, we on the way back we'd normally give them ready meals, but we'll go for pizzas again, but this time they won't be behind JJ. So you know, there comes a point when you kind of do things that are more social and you can enjoy the food, but we're doing things right, and the coach is brilliant. Like I said, hopefully there's a pizza and a cup of coffee waiting for me on the coach. I hope so. You deserve it. Well done today. Thanks so much. Thanks, Jim.